So I really wanted to do a recreation of Peat's makeup from the first episode of Lovesea. So I guess technically it would be Tongrak's makeup when he arrives at the resort. A lot of people online were saying it was pink, but in my opinion, it was definitely like a cherry red. So like a very pink red. That's what I tried to go for today. You will see the whole journey. I used to have the perfect blush for this look, but it was super expired. And so I threw it away trying to be a responsible adult. And now I regret being a responsible adult, but here we are. So I'm gonna try and recreate the makeup look today while I also chat about the first episode. I'm even wearing my all black in honor of Tongrak's arrival. The world is my oyster. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm clearly not Thai and not a man, but I'm going to adapt this makeup to my own features to the best of my ability. He just looked so good in episode 1. Pete looked so good. I loved the red and it was so monochrome. And the shade they chose for him really worked well with like his skin tone and his hair color and his eye color, which clearly we don't necessarily share. I would say we have a similar eye color. Also have a mirror down here. So if I'm leaning forward or looking into my mirror, that's why. So as we all know from the episode, which we've all seen, we need to start with a nice, fair, flawless base. I start with setting spray. Choose your own favorite as you will. I like to start with a tiny little bit of Aquaphor, tiny bit, and I put it in all my high mobility areas, I like to call them, right around my nose, my smile lines, and I put it just right under my eyes. I have pretty oily skin around my eyes, like my eyeshadow creases all the time, and you may think that's insane. There's no way that that works. It does. It works really, really well. I've done wear tests on doing this, lasts all day, no smudges, no creases, no slipping and sliding, works great. Okay, clearly I'm not working with flawless skin here, but that's what the makeup is for. I'm gonna combine 2 foundation shades because that's just what I do in my daily life. One is this shade, I promise, it's my face color. What is it? The Lancome Teint Idole in, what color is it? I don't know. OVO090N. It's a fair neutral, whatever it is. This is probably expired, but it was so expensive. I don't care. But I've learned recently I'm not actually neutral. I'm a little olive. So then I add some of the Misha BB cream, which is super olive, and I'll mix the 2 together. So what did we all think of the first episode of Lovesea? I loved it. I think it's so funny how, I mean, they've only been in 2 shows together, but Fort and Pete's dynamic really just seems like they're playing themselves, or at least a version of themselves. I'm not naive enough to think that they show their full, complete self to strangers on the internet. It just seems like roles that they're really comfortable in and that are really familiar to them. I definitely see echoes of Pi and Sky in Tongrak and Moot. Next, going in with 2 concealers, one for under my eyes and one for some blemishes. I am not as naturally flawless as the movie stars, so I have to fake it a little bit. I'll let my spot concealer dry while I do my under eyes. I saw this on TikTok. It's like taking the concealer in like a line up the sides of your face. This is a really bad line, but whatever. I don't really know if it does anything, but it doesn't do any harm, so I've been enjoying doing it. Also, I've got like, you probably can't tell in this light on this camera, but I've got a lot of like skin texture going on my forehead, so kindly please just ignore that. I'm still trying to balance my retinol with like exfoliation. If you have any good exfoliating products, please recommend them. I really did like how in this episode they really show Tongrak's vulnerability. Obviously, he is, you know, the sassy man we all love that we have, you know, learned with Pete in his various characters he's played. Even in Oh My Sunshine Night, I don't know if any of you saw Oh My Sunshine Night. I don't recommend it. Even in that show, he's barely in it and he still has like some of his sassiness, which I love. But especially talking about the pale skin scene that we all surely remember if we've seen episode 1. He's clearly working with some vulnerabilities, some sensitivities. It almost seemed like he was offended, was upset, was almost insecure in himself that Moot was like more curious about his like hair routine than being attracted to him. I also blend my spot concealer with the same brush. But yeah, it seemed like he was offended that Moot wasn't as attracted to him. And he seemed really upset by it, like when he goes into the mirror and talks to himself in the bathroom. And it seems beyond just like a character who's used to everybody being attracted to them and then they meet somebody who's not attracted to them. It seems deeper than that, at least in my opinion. I haven't read the book, I have no idea. Keep your spoilers out of the comments. I don't believe that Tongrak has any bronzer on, not that I can tell at least. I'm sure there's some like underpainting contour going on, but that is not a skill that I have. So I'm gonna go in to the blush. In the photos that I'm going off and based on my memory, Tongrak is wearing a super monochromatic look. Like I said, like it looks like he has the same product on his cheeks, on his eyes, and on his lips. That is what I'm gonna go for today. Fingers crossed. I used to have literally the exact blush color he was wearing, but it was so ancient. I got it back in like 12th grade, which was many years ago for me. And it was expired, so I threw it away recently. So now we're gonna combine two colors. This hot pink blush with maybe this red blush, or maybe this red blush, or maybe a red lipstick. I haven't 100% decided how I'm gonna make this happen yet, but I know I'm gonna be using this ColourPop blush in Cutesy Wootsy and some other creams. Normally I wear my blush here lately, like in like that pre-Raphaelite positioning, but he almost looks like he's contouring with his blush, which I'm gonna do a version of that because it looked cool. So we're gonna start with this red liquid blush from Etude House. I don't wear this super often because it honestly just goes so patchy on me. We are gonna work with it today. Like, see the patchiness I was talking about? Like, there's like a weird pigment patch right here. This cheek is okay. Oh gosh, my hair. It's not helping. Let me get off. There we go. But it's just the base color, so I'm not too stressed about it yet. I go in with these ColourPop creams on my finger because straight in on the brush is like way too pigmented for me. I think it's abundantly clear that Tongrak is dealing with something. He has some kind of demons, especially the final scene on the boat where he's like terrified that Moot has abandoned him or died. I don't really 100% know what he was afraid of. I can't really even blame him though, like especially since he doesn't know how to drive a boat and he has no reason to think that Moot would come back. So he's like, I thought you abandoned me, or that you were like drowning, or like, that's a reasonable fear, I think. But I'm sure there's more to it and we're gonna unlock some even more tragic backstories from this man. You can see I'm blending like up into the edge of the eye, up into my temple, because that's kind of what I'm pretty sure his looked like. That is pretty darn close. There is some patchiness here, which I think might just be my skin right now, to be honest, but that is where that red was, and I freaking told you guys. I'm gonna get rid of that blush. I don't even know why I still have it. Let me see if I can even it out. I might not be able to. Oh God, I hope I haven't made a terrible mistake. I'm interested to see if there's anything going on with Moot that's deeper. Oh, I think I've made a terrible mistake. Don't worry, we can save it. He was very fun in this episode. I personally would have been upset if he had barged into my room like he did with Tongrak. I would be scared I was gonna be like, I don't know, robbed or worse, I don't know. Okay, so we're definitely dealing with some texture here and there, which I'm gonna blame on this. It's so weird because I have this in 3 colors, a pink, a red, and an orange. The orange is amazing. I use it all the time. It is so flattering on my skin. It is such a beautiful texture. This red has literally never worked for me personally. As a cheek, I use it on my lips sometimes. Never gonna use this on my cheeks again. But now I feel like we're way too pink. Like we're way too pink. But I don't want to go too much more pigmented with red. I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna try this red cream blush from e.l.f. Oh, and it's a little more neutral too. It's a little more brown. That might help. But my goodness, the chemistry, the tension between Moot and Tongrak in this episode, they were not playing around. They said, listen, we know what happened between Pi and Sky when they first met, and we might not be able to do exactly that again. We gotta give the people what they want, and we know what they want. We do know what they want. I think that's as good as it's gonna get, so I'm gonna quit ruining it. See again with that texture we're dealing with right there? It's like that red, where I put that red down is just picking up all my other makeup. So upsetting. Whatever. I'm just gonna ignore it and move on. There's nothing I can do about it now. All right, so I'm gonna use setting spray again. 2 different kinds. I have like a setting one and then a moisturizing one. I'm also super curious about like the mysterious Connor and his mysterious boyfriend. I have a theory that it's gonna be the Boss and Noel cameo, but I have no idea because again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. No spoilers. Again, no spoilers in my comments. Once the setting spray has dried, I'm gonna go in with some powder. I actually use 2 different kinds of powder. I have like a dry skin friendly powder, but then I have like a oily skin powder. I do the dry skin powder first because it's more forgiving to my lines, and then I'll take the more heavy-duty powder in other areas. I thought that the show was going to take place like entirely on this resort island, but it seems that that is not the case. It seems like there will be a bit of it on the island, and maybe that's where their characters are going to get closer, but then it seems from the trailer a good portion of it is going to be them back in Bangkok, kind of like trying to make a relationship work, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. I am so upset about this blush. Like, can you see it? Can you see the patchiness? Don't use that. I don't know if Tongrak was wearing highlighter, but I like highlighter, so I'm gonna wear some, just a little, because it makes me happy, and maybe it'll hide some of the sins of that freaking red blush that ruined everything. And I have super oily eyelids, so I need a primer to keep any eyeshadow on. Normally I do brow gel, but I can't find it, so I'm just gonna comb through my brows. I just upped my retinol prescription strength, and my skin is reminding me that I've done that. So I'm gonna use those same creams that I mixed for my blush as eyeshadow. Fingers crossed that's gonna work. A disclaimer, products are made for different parts of the body for different reasons. I cannot guarantee that blush is good to use on the eyes. I can only say that I'm going to use it on my eyes because I am a grown-up and I'm willing to deal with the consequences of my actions. So I mixed a bit of the red and the pink cream on my eyes and I'm going to blend it. The side couple also, oh my gosh, Tongrak's poor assistant. On the one hand, I want to be like, yay, representation. On the other hand, the fact that that actress is making her life a living hell in an attempt to flirt. If they were like, hey, I made your life exponentially more difficult because I like you and I'm like trying to flirt with you, I would very much not date the person who made my life harder in some juvenile attempt to flirt with me. Also, why on earth does Tongrak own a bunch of residential buildings and not have a property management company? Clearly he's not going to manage the buildings. He can barely manage himself. Why on earth is he putting all of that on his poor assistant? I also like to think if he knew what this woman was doing to his assistant, then he would like do something about it, because like that is not okay. I really like the actress that plays his assistant though. I think she's just really talented, and her English is also like very good. She spoke a little bit of English in episode 1. I think she can she speak French, or is it the other lady that speaks French? One of them can speak French. So he also had, it was almost like a V of like the red on the outside. So I'm gonna try and do that as much as I can, but I also really like to have my eyeshadow like super diffused. So I'm gonna try and find a happy medium. Also, for some reason on this eye, there's like a line of demarcation. No matter what I do, no matter what eyeshadow I wear, no matter how much I blend, that line is there. If you have any idea why that might be the case, why like this skin does not want to take pigment, please let me know. No, I do not have a scar there. All right, that's pretty good. Not quite as pigmented as I think he has it in the show, but I'm not a professional. So this is what we're working with. It also seems like in the show, he kind of has like a burgundy eyeliner almost. I don't really have anything like that, but I've got a close enough color, so that is what I'm gonna be using. He doesn't seem to have a ton on, maybe just a little bit to like emphasize the corners. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'm gonna blend it out. Just a little blendy blend. Yeah, this is definitely not like as red as I think he was using, but it'll work for our needs. I'm also gonna fight to not give myself a little wing because I always wear a little wing. So I'm gonna have to like restrain myself to the best of my abilities. Okay, I think that's pretty restrained. There's like a tiny little baby mark, but I'm gonna have to blend the color somehow. I think I put more eyeliner on this side. Too late, oh well. Yeah, I definitely did. Let's try and blend it out and see if we can do that. Probably not, but maybe. Middling success. This whole look is a middling success. Eyebrow time. Oh my gosh, I just loved Tongrak's character, especially when he was like, I'm so hot and it's summer and it's sandy and I'm sweating. And I'm like, oh my God, I also hate all of those things. I mean, I love the beach. I hate like sweating to have to get to the beach. This is my first time doing eyebrows on camera, so be gentle with me. I also thought it was really strange how Moot's brother, when he was bartending, which by the way, can we talk about Pete's outfit when he was at the bar? Man looked amazing in that white lace outfit. I thought it was so weird that he was talking about that all that stuff with like a customer, how all the guests want to hook up with his brother and that like they're extending their stays to either try to hook up with him or keep hooking up with him. I couldn't tell if it was like a continuing or like a wishful thing. I don't know. I mean, if I was a bartender, I probably wouldn't talk about that with a customer, but what do I know? I'm not a bartender. This eyebrow is always troublesome for me. This one I have to fight every day. Whatever, that is good enough. If I keep messing with it, I'm just gonna ruin them. I am really curious to see how their relationship is gonna progress though. Tongrak and Moots. Mostly like how long is Tongrak gonna last against Moots' charm, because man is charming and seems more than willing to, you know, engage in certain activities. And we know that Tongrak needs inspiration, if you will. Oh my gosh. Sisters, not twins. Sisters, not twins. Maybe distant cousins. Before I do the mascara, I'm going to use a lip stain to get that red base. I'm going to use the dreaded cheek tint, but it's also a lip tint. So that's going to do our base red. Clearly because I used a different blush, the tone is a little different, which is not what I wanted and it's making me upset, but I think I can fix it. So stay with me. We're going to try and make this happen here at the end. Never done this on camera before. This is going to be interesting. I'm intrigued that we saw Tongrak's soft underbelly, I suppose, so early. I guess it makes sense that we saw flashes of it because he's our kind of main point of view character. So we need to empathize with him and he needs to be humanized in our eyes or we're not going to want to follow his story and be sympathetic with him. But they included so many kind of little, oh, of course, little mascara spot. But they included so many little inferences to clearly what are insecurities that he's dealing with or kind of trauma, I guess, that he's dealing with, which was a lot more than I expected. So I'm very intrigued to hear about his backstory and what he's been through and how that kind of manifests in, like Connor said, him being a really lonely character, him kind of struggling to treat himself well, and also this hang up he seems to have about not being able to write when he's not intimate with someone. Somebody left a very vague comment on one of my TikTok videos about Connor, the friend who like sent him to the island in the first place. No spoilers. No spoilers. So I wonder if that is something they're going to keep in the show. If it's negative, which I don't know if it is or not, but if it is, I don't think they would have cast Boss and Noel as those characters. If it is not negative and is, I don't know, a positive surprise, then that's my theory. Somebody else theorized that they're gonna be actors in the show, like cast in Tongrak's, whatever his newest like book turned film adaptation is, which I think is also a very good guess. From the little video we saw of their cameo, they do kind of look like actors doing press. That would definitely make sense. Had to finish that bottom lash off camera. This is like a mascara topper. I heard K-pop idols allegedly use it to keep their mascara from like smudging on their eyelids, and I have a huge problem with that. So I do it on like the very tips of my lashes that touch my skin when I open my eyes. That's the only place I do it on. I don't do it over like the whole eye. And I do it on the bottom lashes too, just where the lashes would touch my face. My only gripe is if you use this too soon before your mascara dries, it can clump them up. And that's kind of what happened on this eye over here, which is kind of making me upset, but I'm trying not to think about it. Okay, just don't think about it. It's fine. All right, finally the lips. We're gonna try and neutralize these a little. They look very pink on the camera. I'm gonna use some of this red lipstick that I have. It's just like a dark brick matte red, which his lips were not matte, but we're gonna come back to that, don't worry. Okay, I kind of tried diffusing the edges with a finger to keep it from being too harsh, but that's not making me super happy. I hate using this blush on my lips because it's not made for that, but I need to brownify this a little bit. Since it's not made for your lips, it dries really powdery, which is not a super comfortable feeling. I'm also gonna use some of like a neutral brown lip liner, and maybe that'll help. Okay, they are pulling way pinker on camera than they are in real life, but I guess that works because if memory serves, I think his lips were quite a bit more like bright red, I guess, than the rest of his face. I don't know what I'm saying at this point anymore, but I do remember they were shiny, so I'm gonna do a little clear, shiny red. It's not clear if it's red. Whatever, a little jelly red gloss in the middle. Try to do like the Douyin style lip. It does not suit me, or maybe I'm just doing it wrong. That could also be part of it. Let's take out the hairband, my RJ hairband. I've even got my gold hoops like he was wearing in the show. Fix the hair. And this is the final look. What do we think? I think for a non-Thai woman doing a makeup look that was originally on a Thai man, I did a decent job. If only I still had that Essence cherry blush, I swear this would have been perfect, but I threw it away because it was expired because I'm trying to be responsible. Oh wait, we need the final setting spray. I feel like my lighting got uneven at some point, so sorry if that happened and ruined everything. We're gonna all ignore the patchiness of the blush and just like look at it from a distance. I loved the first episode of Love Sea. I'm super excited for the rest of the show. I'm so happy to see Fort and Peat on my screen again. It just makes me even more excited for the Boss Noel show too. Well, on the one hand, I'm happy they took their time to really like do a good job promoting Love in the Air and doing all of their projects that they wanted to do. I have really missed seeing them, so I am very, very happy that they are back. I'm also super excited to see all of the shenanigans that they're going to get up to being like by the beach for this part of the show. At least I know we've seen in the promo that they're going to go snorkeling. There's so much potential with the waves and the sun and the sand and the seashells, sea urchins, I don't know, sharks drama, which I'm all very excited for. But what about you? What are you most excited for? What did you like the most about episode 1? Is there anything you didn't like? Is there anything you're not excited about? No spoilers again. How many times do I have to say no spoilers? I'll say it again. So here are going to be the links to subscribe and watch other videos. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.